The quiet life of a small-town farmer takes a dark turn when a ruthless biker gang roars into town, looking for trouble. They think they found an easy target in Jack, a solitary man tending his crops on the edge of town. What they don't know is that Jack isn't just any farmer. He's a retired Navy SEAL with skills and instincts sharpened by years of combat. As the gang starts pushing him around, Jack keeps his cool, hiding a past he hoped to leave behind. But when they cross the line, they're about to discover that they've picked the wrong man to mess with. In a town where everyone knows everyone, fear begins to spread, and Jack is left with a choice: stay silent or fight back. The air grows tense as night falls, and the bikers have no idea what's coming for them. Jack had moved to this quiet town to escape the chaos of his past. Years of dangerous missions had left him craving peace, and the farmland offered just that, or so he thought. The biker gang, known for stirring up trouble in nearby towns, saw this place as their next playground. They weren't used to people standing up to them, and Jack's calm demeanor only fueled their arrogance. Word spread quickly among the townspeople, whispers of unease creeping into every corner. Some neighbors watched nervously from behind curtains, knowing better than to get involved. But Jack wasn't afraid. He spent years learning how to stay 2 steps ahead of any enemy. Still, he didn't want to bring violence into the town he now called home. Yet the bikers kept pushing, testing his patience. And as tensions rise, Jack quietly prepares, because if they force his hand, there's no turning back. The leader of the biker gang, a ruthless man named Rick, didn't take kindly to being ignored. He saw Jack's quiet strength as a challenge, something he couldn't let slide. Rick ordered his crew to ramp up the intimidation: slashed tires, broken fences, and late-night engine roars tearing through the silence. The townspeople grew more anxious, warning Jack to back down, but he stayed silent, watching, waiting. Meanwhile, Sarah, a local diner owner and one of the few people Jack trusted, urged him to involve the sheriff. But Jack knew the sheriff was outnumbered and outmatched. What the gang didn't realize was Jack had already begun mapping out their moves. He noticed how they operated, their routines, their weaknesses. Every step they took was a mistake piling up. But Rick wasn't done. He had bigger plans for the town, and Jack was the only obstacle in his way. The storm was building, and it was only a matter of time before it broke. Rick wasn't satisfied with scare tactics anymore. His frustration boiled over, and he decided it was time to make an example out of Jack. One night, under the cover of darkness, the gang surrounded Jack's farmhouse. Engines idled low, headlights off, their shadows stretching across the fields. Inside, Jack sat in the dim light, fully aware they were out there. He had been expecting this. Every broken fence, every slashed tire, it had all been leading to this moment. But Jack wasn't the only one feeling the pressure. Sarah noticed strange men watching the diner, and the townspeople began locking their doors earlier, terrified that the gang's grip was tightening. Rumors spread that Rick planned to take over local businesses, using fear to control the town. Jack knew this wasn't just about him anymore. It was about protecting everyone. As footsteps crunched closer to his porch, Jack remained still, his mind sharp and steady. The gang thought they had cornered him, but in reality, they were walking straight into the lion's den. The night hung heavy with silence, moments away from erupting into chaos. Just as the gang closed in on Jack's farmhouse, a sudden flash of headlights cut through the darkness. A black SUV rolled up the dirt road, kicking up dust as it came to a stop. The bikers turned, confused and tense. From the vehicle stepped a man in a tailored suit, Victor Kane, a name Jack hadn't heard in years. Victor wasn't just anyone. He was a former intelligence operative turned mercenary, and more importantly, an old enemy from Jack's Navy SEAL days. Rick's smug grin faltered as Victor approached, making it clear the gang wasn't running the show anymore. Victor had struck a deal with Rick, offering money and weapons in exchange for full control of the town. This wasn't random chaos, it was a calculated takeover. Jack's stomach tightened. This wasn't just about scaring him off or bullying the town. Victor was here for something far bigger, and Jack realized that the gang was merely a distraction. Whatever Victor wanted, it was buried deep in this quiet town, and Jack was the only one standing in his way. The stakes had just risen, and time was running out. Jack's mind raced as Victor Kane stepped forward, his cold eyes scanning the farmhouse. The bikers shifted uncomfortably, realizing they were pawns in a much larger game. Victor wasn't here for control. He was after something buried on Jack's land. Years ago, during a covert mission, Jack had intercepted a shipment of encrypted files tied to Victor's black market operations. Unwilling to destroy them, Jack had hidden the evidence deep beneath his property, hoping it would never resurface. Victor's voice cut through the tension. "You have something that belongs to me, Jack. Hand it over, and this ends quietly." But Jack wasn't about to surrender. Moving swiftly, he triggered hidden traps around the property. Smoke bombs and flares erupted, blinding the gang. Chaos broke out as bikers stumbled, coughing and panicked. Jack closed in on Rick first, disarming him with brutal precision, then turned his focus to Victor. As they fought, Victor smirked. "You think this ends with me?" he hissed. Suddenly, a distant explosion echoed from the town. Jack's heart dropped. Victor had planted explosives as leverage, threatening everything Jack swore to protect. But then, over the radio, clipped to Victor's belt, a voice crackled, Sarah's voice. "Nice try, Victor, but we found your toys." Jack had secretly warned Sarah earlier, and with the townspeople's help, they dismantled Victor's backup plan. Furious, Victor lunged, but Jack was faster, forcing him to the ground. Sirens wailed in the distance. The sheriff and state police were finally closing in. As Victor was hauled away, Jack turned to the battered gang. "This is over. Don't come back." But as the dust settled, Jack noticed something Victor had dropped, a second encrypted drive, newer than the one he buried. Jack picked it up, realizing this fight was only the beginning. As the sun began to rise over the quiet town, the tension that had gripped everyone slowly faded. The biker gang, beaten and scattered, was taken into custody alongside Victor Kane, whose plans had unraveled completely. The sheriff, finally backed by state authorities, promised the town would be safe moving forward. Jack stood at the edge of his field, the cold drive still in his hand, knowing that whatever secrets it held could threaten more than just this small town. Sarah approached, offering a tired but genuine smile. "So what now?" Jack glanced at the horizon, the weight of his past heavier than ever. "Now I make sure this never happens again." The townspeople returned to their routines, but Jack knew peace was temporary. His quiet life had been shattered, but in its place, a new purpose was rising. The fight was over for now.